And the fact that an upstanding and righteous gentleman like yourself is in that position with the only thing trying to be righteous in our lane is just more machinations of the devil. You should have a much better backstory when you pick me as an opponent.
You know what, man? I'm glad you at least, addressed it, because
when you talk to him and tell him what the truth is, he won't be able to refute it. I told you earlier, he doesn't know this. How could he know?
Has a new target in his sights. NFL legend Shannon Sharpe. A brand new lawsuit was just filed in Nevada claiming Sharpe was manipulative and abusive and eventually sexually assaulted a Jane Doe. With the latest claims allegedly happening as recently as January. We got our hands on the filing and we're going to break down everything.
Feel better about herself when they come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl.
I do.
This is your auntie talking to you. Take your ass and get you old up there that can love you old. You're trying to hang out with these young and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it.
Dang.
When they want you to go for the 4th round, you looking at her. Listen, I need you. Want some money to go to stop?
Y'all, Katt Williams just confirmed the essay allegation against Shannon Sharpe, and the internet is losing its ever-loving mind. Shannon Sharpe has been fighting for his life these past couple of days, and y'all can bet that Katt's comments are about to make things 10 times worse for him. Now Shannon got sued a couple days ago by a woman that claimed that she allegedly essayed and put hands on her while they were dating. And it looks like this might just be the start of Shannon's downfall. Now Shannon has been trying to fight the lawsuit, but it's not looking good for him. It also isn't helping that Katt Williams has that big "I told you." So energy declaring support against Shannon, and it also looks like he's threatening to spill some spicy tea on Shannon, and y'all know that it's going to get crazy, so let's get into it. Yeah, no, y'all, Katt Williams is enjoying Shannon Sharpe's current legal mess, and he isn't even trying to hide it at this point. There have been rumors of some sort of beef going on between Shannon and Katt for a while now, at least ever since the interview, at least ever since that infamous interview on Club Shay Shay, and he's not even trying to hide it at this point. And it's kind of shocking because their interview broke records for the most watched video podcast on YouTube. Given all that, you'd think that they'd be on good terms, right? Well, they're not, which explains why Katt is enjoying Shannon's downfall. Word in the streets is that Katt has allegedly been telling people that Shannon has always had a weird vibe to him, and he suspected all that while he was on Club Shay Shay. It kind of sounds like Katt believes that there might have been some truth to the allegations against Shannon, which is insane, considering how messy these allegations are. So what exactly are these allegations about? And what does Katt think is absolutely true? Well, the lawsuit was brought by a woman named Gabriella Zuniga, who claims that she was 19 when she started messing around with Shannon in 2023, which means he was 54 at the time right off the bat. This is not looking good for Shannon because what was unthinking, getting involved with a teenager. For context, his youngest child would have been about 29 or 30 at the time, which means that he was messing around with a woman 10 or 11 years younger than his youngest child. I know it's all legal and Gabriella was technically an adult, but it's still very much grooming and weird. But anyways, Gabriella made a lot of claims in her lawsuit that were very shocking. First off, she filed the lawsuit as Jane Doe because she wanted to keep her identity private. The only reason we know her real name is that Shannon and his lawyers directly named her in their statements. There's gotta be something wrong with that too. But in her lawsuit, she accused Shannon of manipulating and controlling her, and alleges that he said her from behind in October 2024 and January 2025, blatantly ignoring her pleas. For him to stop the lawsuit details instances of alleged threats and physical assaulting, Sharpe refused to accept the answered no. Even as she sobbed and screamed, she claimed that they met in a LA gym and were in consensual relationship for 2 years. But his behavior turned mean, and he allegedly threatened to unalive her when she attempted to share her location with friends. She also claimed that he insisted on recording their intimate encounters at times without her knowledge and claimed they were for personal use, though she accused Sharpe of sharing the videos with friends on multiple occasions. Well, Shannon was not about to let his name get dragged in the mud like this, so he clapped back extra hard in a statement released by his lawyer. In the statement, he included transcripts of some texts that he got from Gabriella, and heads up, they're definitely graphic, like insanely graphic in the text. She said stuff like, "I want you to put a dog collar on my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. I know you missed this big juicy ass $25,000 for each cheek. Only if you put that baby gravy in me, then you can do whatever you want to. Me, I want to put my tongue in your a-hole and then marry you. That's my daddy, ah. Want you to put a big black baby in me? You better crave it, because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. It's just exhausting." But as I mentioned earlier, they were graphic. However, given that Gabriella is white, why is there such an obsession with this big black baby thing? It sounds like Shannon is involved in some kind of race play, and we won't even go into that mess just yet because, as a countryman, he has seen some things. This lawsuit filed by Gabriella Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney Tony Busby is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars in her effort to extract a large financial settlement. Ms. Zuniga presented Mr. Sharpe with a secretly recorded video of a consensual, intimate encounter. We believe that this video has been heavily edited and taken entirely out of context, crafted to falsify or portray a consensual act as a non-consensual. It continued, the evidence paints a clear picture. This was a consensual adult relationship that included role playing adult language and fantasy scenarios explicitly requested by Miss Aiga. The edited tape that Miss Amiga secretly taped and showed Mr. Sharpe during her blackmail attempt tries to falsely portray as a result of this editing and out of context from prior text messages that the intimate activity was not consensual. Mr. Sharpe categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct, especially the gross lie of essay, and will not submit to what he sees as an egregious attempt at blackmail. He stands firmly by the truth and is prepared to fight these false claims vigorously in court. Heath looks forward to vindication through due process and a judgment based on the facts and the law. He also shared a video in which he said that Tony Busby, the same attorney who filed the essay lawsuit against Jay-Z, was blackmailing him. He said that Busby would release an audio clip that was intended to harm his reputation because it had been misconstrued. He also said that Gabriella and Busby were requesting $50 million in their lawsuit.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
Tony Busby eventually retaliated at this point, asserting that Shannon had made Gabriella an offer of $10 million at mediation in return for her not bringing the complaint he had written. Back in early February, our office contacted Mr. Sharpe on behalf of Jane Doe and broached the subject of a meeting. Multiple conversations took place. Ultimately, a mediation occurred. Sharpe was represented by different lawyers in that mediation. That mediation process went on for more than 6 weeks ultimately, leading to Mr. Sharpe making an incredibly significant offer to settle. However, Doe refused the hefty sum offered by Sharpe and instead filed this case. Additionally, he asserted that the messages that Shannon and his attorneys made public were old, correspondences that he sent before to the purported essay episodes. Every text that Mr. Sharpe's counsel released today purportedly from Jane Doe are dated prior to the alleged brutal set forth in Jane Doe's case. Those texts were obviously released in an effort to distract the public's attention from the allegation in Jane Doe's lawsuit. It won't work. However, Mr. Busby wasn't finished with Mr. Shannon, since he also made public an audio recording in which Shanana threatened to strangle Gabriella.
I don't know. Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at and you're just gonna hang up on me, so I feel like...
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
What does that even mean?
Nothing, Gabby. You want to be a dick to me now, so...
I don't want to be... Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna fucking choke the shit out of you when I see you.
I don't...
You know what?
Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in that.
He made a troubling remark about a large black man choking a petite white woman in another clip.
Well, I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
Yeah. I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you did with the shit you did to me.
Okay, well...
Now that the audio that Tony Busby wrote was released, things are not looking good at all. The contents of this clip are not playful. They are instead disturbing and dangerous. The audio clearly depicts Jane Doe's treatment by Sharpe, which prompted her to flee Nevada and cut off all communication with him. Additionally, he reaffirmed the allegations that Shannon's group made Gabriella a $10 million offer. On the one hand, Mr. Sharpe and his lawyers claim that the case filed by Jane Doe is meritless. But on the other hand, they now have disclosed that Mr. Sharpe offered Jane Doe $10 million in writing not to file her lawsuit. That is a true statement. Jane Doe was in fact offered $10 million to settle, but rejected that offer, choosing instead to proceed with litigations. Harp's team is now trying to discredit and doxer Sharpe, and his team are now, as anticipated, also attacking me. We are not going to be deterred by Thesa Tactics, claiming since his contract with Colin Cohertz at the Volume Podcast Network recently expired, Mr. Shannon's lawyer was not going to overlook that. He accused Gabriella of being greedy, claiming that Shannon is expected to sign a $100 million media deal any day now, and that's why Gabriella has dollar signs in her eyes. Tana was sued the day before it was made public that Shannon is expected to sign a deal for his club Shay Shay podcast that would exceed $100 million. Her knowledge that Mr. Sharpe's about to receive a very lucrative contract, she knew that took advantage of it, and I described this as my opinion that this is a classic definition of blackmail. He revealed Gabriella as an OnlyFans creator, which provides the most leverage for blackmail. What she does on OnlyFans was from money and role-playing and virtual fantasy with men who pay her. It was a fact the plaintiff started to charge Mr. Sharpe money. This is who she is by the facts. I'm just describing that she's on OnlyFans and charges people money to do role-play well. Busby clad back again and said, Mr. Sharpe's aggressive approach will instead have the opposite effect. Miss Doe is not afraid of the truth, she relies upon it. I look forward to presenting the evidence. In this case, through the judicial process, where the truth matters more than a sports icon's desperate public spin. Fans are divided on this, so it's a very, very, very awful hot mess. On the one hand, Tony Busby, the same attorney that sued Jay-Z, doesn't exactly have a fantastic history when it comes to SA cases. Last year, accusing him of allegedly seeing a 13-year-old at an after-party for the BMS. Back in 2000, the lawsuit was eventually dropped and dismissed. And the another Jane Doe claimed that Busby had told her a lie. He got countersued by Jay-Z for defamation and extortion, and that was all. Very messy too. So when he brought another lawsuit against another successful black man, well, fans are starting to give him the side eye and wondering if extortion is a side hustle or something else for him. But on the other hand, there are people who believe that because Shannon is known to be quite freaky dicky in the bedroom. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a difference between being freaky dicky and SA, but fans are wondering if there could have been some type of overlap while fans are split on this. Y'all want to know who is enjoying Shannon's downfall? Allegedly Katt Williams. I know this is kind of shocking, but there have been rumors for a while now that Katt and Shannon have been on the all started after the Club Shay Shay interview. The chaos kicked off the second that podcast went viral. Katt quickly landed in hot water with a whole bunch of black entertainers, especially fellow comedians. And honestly, you could kind of see why some parts of that interview got Katt looking real bitter, like he had some long-standing beef to get off his chest. And during his appearance on Club Shay Shay, Katt went full confessional mode, airing out other celebrities with no filter. He wasn't tiptoeing around anything, he dove straight into the drama, straight no chaser. And although folks were laughing all over the internet, the entertainers that got the backlash were not handling it well. Because, let's be real, nobody wants their skeletons dragged out on a public platform. But Katt unloaded that clip like he'd been sitting on all that tea for years, just waiting for the right moment. And Shannon Sharpe served it up on a silver platter. But the aftermath of that interview was a mess, and they got a lot of hate for it, especially Cad Dave. Chappelle was one of the first comedians to drag Shannon and Katt when he said, "What part of the game is this? He eated ninjas." He didn't say anything about any of those white boys. None of those white boys function like that. Katt is one of the best painters in the game, so why are you drawing ugly pictures of us? Stop hurt people, but I'm a hurt person that never hurt people, and he does it all the time. Additionally, he charged him with attempting to destroy the lives of his fellow black males, saying, "If I told my story, it would break your heart. I lost everything and never ever told on anybody." And he is behaving as though he is the arbiter of truth. But Dre tells me what part of the game involves F's up another ninja's paper, and what part is about revealing information about another ninja. Now at first, all the backlash was directed straight at Katt, and folks were calling him bitter, saying he was lying, and that he was the real problem, and dubbed him a hater for how he came across in that interview. But then Monique sat down with Club Shay, and suddenly the tide shifted, and people started side-eyeing Shannon Sharpe himself, realizing that he was the common thread in both messy interviews and in classic Shay Shay fashion. He deflected. He basically threw Katt under the bus, acting like the whole thing was all Katt. Shannon painted himself as just a guy going with the flow, insisting that Katt was the one leading the charge and stirring that pot. According to him, he was just playing off of what Katt was already saying. Well, Shannon had already apparently been feeling some type of way about all the backlash in his mind. He was just doing his job as an interviewer, asking questions and letting his guests speak. He hadn't pressured Katt to spill any tea or force him to say any words. So, as far as he was concerned, he shouldn't have been the one getting the hate. And I kind of agree with him on that. But according to someone close to the situation, Shannon has been venting behind the scenes, frustrated that Katt's bombshell interview had thrown his entire show off course. What used to be as seen as a credible platform for real conversations was viewed as a circus act. Shannon worried that the chaos might make it harder to book big-name guests in the future, and he put the blame squarely on Katt's shoulders. But to make things even messier, Shannon started to suggest that Katt might not have been telling the truth at all. Still, he was quick to distance himself from it and claimed that Katt had assured him everything he planned to say was true. Well, Shannon insisted he had never forced Katt's hand, and that everything said during that interview was entirely Katt's idea. Well, Katt did not appreciate being thrown under that bus like that, and this led to some strain between him and Shannon. Well, Shannon's podcast did manage to survive the drama, and the podcast has been doing well up until now. That is, even though no interview has come close to as messy as the one with Katt. But if there's one thing that we know about Mr. Katt Williams, is that he has a long memory. And now that Shannon Sharpe is being accused of SA, well, let's just say that Katt is not exactly shedding any tears for him. Katt is petty as elf, but I still think Katt is out here telling Sharpe, "You gotta tell him no, you gotta tell them no, but I gotta know what do y'all think about this drop." Your thoughts in the comments below, and then check out this next video.